was watching as this bill was being debated online. And we must thank the Parliamentary Service Commission for making it possible that even when we're out of the chamber, even on the roads, we can be able to follow what is going on in the House. And I must express my gratitude and thanks to the many members who contributed to this bill, and appreciating the central role that culture plays in our society, and especially in an African society like ours, Honorable Speaker. Even with the emerging trends and changes, with the transformative things happening within the technology space, that many Kenyans, and indeed many members who represent those Kenyans, still appreciate the central role that culture does play in the lives of our people, and seek to preserve that culture, Honorable Speaker. And I thank the members who contributed, and the Ministry and the State Department for Culture for having drafted this bill that seeks to, among other things, Honorable Speaker, ensure that we are able to register issues that touch on culture and alienate the roles of the two levels of government, Honorable Speaker. Those issues that will be catered for by the national government and those that will be catered for by the county governments, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, more importantly, the bill provides for the management of culture in Kenya, and as I said, alienates the functions of the two levels of government between our national and county governments, and also provides for the recognition and promotion of cultural expressions and indigenous technologies by public entities, something that has not happened in the past, the protection of our cultural heritage and expressions, and the protection of endangered communities and cultures. And Honorable Speaker, it's important because, and I was particularly watching to see how the Ma members of Parliament, or those members of Parliament who represent the Ma communities, would contribute to this debate, and I'm glad that a number of members did contribute. Because if there is a culture that has been abused over the years, is the Ma culture, Honorable Speaker. And I can see the Honorable Lenguris, because I know she's been very passionate on protecting the Samburu cultural practices, Honorable Speaker. And it's not just the Ma community where you find Kimani Ichungwa dressed up in a Moran shuka, donning the Moran hair, and pretending to jump like a Moran. And many at times, Honorable Speaker, many people making money out of the cultural practices of other people. This bill now provides for a mechanism.
Majority Leader, you may be interested to know, we went to London.
Yes.
And I think Alechei was in that delegation for the 75th anniversary of the Commonwealth. And some very stocky Nigerians were brought and introduced as Maasai dancers. To pretend to be Maasai is distorting Kenya's culture. So you should call upon our missions also to know who represents our culture out there.
Precisely, Honorable Speaker, and you have narrated that story to us in another forum, I think in the House Business Committee. And it's indeed true. One of the most abused cultural practices of the Kenyan people is a Maasai culture. And it's true, Honorable Speaker, you can imagine now in London, Nigerians pretending to be Maasais. Therefore, it's important even to have these cultures and certain cultural practices registered and known who are the
property owners. To make it worse, they're paid for it.
Yes.
For the pretense.
So that when you register your cultural practices, for instance, the Ma community registering their Maasai dances and their cultural practices, if anybody used to use that cultural property, they have to pay you for it. Otherwise, Honorable Speaker, you've seen even things like the Kikoi, Honorable Speaker, that was being done largely by Kenyans and a bit of Tanzanians, Honorable Speaker. The brand and the property rights for that Kikoi is with foreigners, Honorable Speaker, today. I'm told, Honorable Speaker, is an American who patented the Kikoi.
Yes.
And even by its very name, Kikoi is a Swahili name. This is part of the losses that we've been making, Honorable Speaker. We must also protect our culture from abuse by ourselves. Politicians, Honorable Speaker. You know, Honorable Speaker, we have seen politicians also abusing our own cultural practices for the sake of politics. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, when at times you see people trying to mobilize people, largely on the basis of their ethnicity, but hiding behind culture, Honorable Speaker, we must be in a position where both the county and national governments are able to protect cultural practices from abuse by politicians, Honorable Speaker. You also see other leaders or people who pretend to be leaders. Recently, Honorable Speaker, you saw the governor for Nyeri. You know, Honorable Speaker, when a governor insults an entire community, and again, unfortunately, it's a Maa community that was being insulted, that they don't wear, I don't know whether it's underwear or even trousers. But you wonder, when that governor discovered that Maasai males do not wear underwear, what was he doing, Honorable Speaker, you wonder? And how and when did he discover that there are people who don't wear underwear? And it's so embarrassing, Honorable Speaker, that that can come from the mouth of someone who purports to be a leader. I know he has pretended to go and apologize to the Maa community, but, you know, Honorable Speaker, they say, birds of a feather flock together. You will understand why that governor for Nyeri would use such derogatory language against an entire community and a very culturally rich community of the Maasai and the greater Maa community, including the Samburus and the Rendiles, Honorable Speaker. And I want to encourage the Maa nation to continue preserving their cultural practices as they have done, and indeed all other communities in our country and in Africa at large, so that we do not allow our people and more so our young people to lose the values that we were raised up with, Honorable Speaker, because we are able to be taught our ways of life and not adopt the Western ways of life. Let us adopt the cultural, the technological changes that we will get from the West, but maintain our cultural practices, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, let me just conclude by saying this bill indeed speaks to length on how we will protect those cultures, how we will safeguard our cultural practices from being abused, how we protect our cultural properties from being stolen by others who do not even know and understand the value of those cultural property rights, Honorable Speaker. And I believe with the enactment of this bill, it will go a long way to protect ourselves as a nation and indeed as proud African people, Honorable Speaker. With those many remarks, I beg to reply, thank all the members who contributed up